This is Andrew Pryfogle, Senior Vice President of Cloud Transformation at Intelisys, nation's leading technology services distributor. I've memorized that line, by the way, Rich. I'm here with Rich Erickson, a good friend of ours from Matrix out of Columbia, South Carolina. Rich, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you here. And I wanted to have this conversation when I heard you're going to be in town because congratulations are in order, my friend. You've been working hard, and it's great to see when good people get elevated to the right kind of role. You now own all of customer operations and engineering at Matrix. VP of Operations and Engineering, is that
engineering and operations?
Yeah, got it.
Got it backwards a little bit.
Perfect. Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
It's a big move for the business and a well-deserved one. Shows how smart the guys at Matrix are to put you in that capacity. How do you feel about that, man? It's a lot more responsibility for you, but you now own the whole customer experience for Matrix. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and I mean it's one of those things that without really knowing it, I've been striving for this my whole life. Since I've got out of the military in the late '90s. Really, my civilian career has been kind of striving towards this role. And I mean, I think I held the role and the responsibility from the technical perspective from a long time, but this has really kind of moved over into more of the business aspect of it, which is the part that I never had. And this is, it's a big step, and it's a great opportunity for me. And I really appreciate everything that's been given to me. And your congratulations, it means a lot to me.
Yeah,
thank you.
You bet, you bet. Some people know this, others may not, but we're actually a customer of Matrix. We use you guys every day. When we, a couple of years ago, when the acquisition of my company happened and we joined the Intelisys family, we started to look at how do we kind of fully embrace the cloud as Intelisys, and we ultimately did that. After doing a search, we decided to move all of our infrastructure to the cloud, and we chose Matrix for that. And it's not been a perfectly smooth road. It's we talked about some of the behavioral changes necessary, and I'll ask you some questions about that in a second because I'd love to get your insight on it. But the changeover for us, we look back on it now and figure out that we're in a much better place today than where we would have been on our own with a lot of really old and dying equipment. Really a high risk environment, frankly. Talk about that real quick because you have some really interesting insight on that. Suppose for a moment, if Intelisys had never made that move to the cloud, you know our infrastructure. What was the risk that we were running as a business if we hadn't made that change?
Well, there's a lot of layers to it, but I mean, probably your most immediate risk was the fact that you had no redundancy whatsoever. A lot of people call it disaster recovery. I call it business continuity is what, and I mean, you'll hear that term around, but it's really about managing your downtime. How long can you stand to be down? And in you guys' case, I mean, that answer is 0. And that's really what you need is to not be down. And your old environment was really, housed on very old equipment, very aged software. You were on Exchange 2003, if I remember correctly. It's pretty old end of life equipment, and you just had no redundancy whatsoever. So, I heard stories of talking to the users and things about, oh well, email will go down for 3 or 4 hours at a time, and in you guys' business, it's killer. It's killer. So I think your biggest risk was business continuity at the time.
Got it. So we got that addressed, and we're now on a really stable platform with Matrix. Behaviorally, a lot of shifts have been made to kind of accommodate that, and that is a big sea change for a lot of businesses, is figuring out how do they get from here to there. Is that the biggest challenge that businesses have when, I'm trying to kind of take this off the sales conversation a little bit, right? And more on when you have a customer that's thinking about maybe making this move, is that going to be their biggest challenge, is how do I get from here to there?
Not necessarily how do I get from here to there, because that's really the easy part.
There's the data migration piece for sure, but there's the how do I get my users who are used to working in this environment now working in that environment?
And that's the hard piece. Making the decision or finding the right company is something that you guys do every day. And once that decision's made, is the hard part is actually working with the right company or getting the right systems in place that can mold and bend to the way you like to do things as much as possible. And then the things that you absolutely have to change, train, test, test.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that will make or break a go live in quicker than anything is testing.
Yeah.
You cannot put these systems together and get everything, kind of working and then not have the users try it out and put them live on it. It's no way to work.
Yeah. Got it.
Testing
That's
is
good
key.
advice. That's really good advice.
Testing is key.
Very cool.
And, I've been 20 years of really, doing this from a single cell organization, what I call an internal IT perspective. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're all customer service people. IT guys are in customer service, period. As much as we try not to think we are, we are. And really, there's 4 basic principles that lead to what I call the top tier, which is the customer experience. It's selecting the right equipment, software, and kind of best of breed things behind the scenes. And that's from the technical layer. It's really, I guess, the least important piece of it, but it's still very important. Making sure you have a good base, solid layer of equipment, software, and processes wrapped up around that.
And you're specifically talking about the LAN side of the business, right?
Well, yeah, the LAN, the network
infrastructure
infrastructure
is going to run on.
Right. The LAN, network infrastructure, hardware, the software that does the desktop publishing and all of that kind of thing. And we've made decisions at Matrix based around 16 years of experience with other types of software. And we decided to go with Citrix top to bottom, simply because we don't have the finger pointing between the two applications. One publishing, another virtualization, that looking at each other going, you're the problem.
Yeah.
It's all one platform. So that's really kind of a core structural thing from a technical level. And that's really all from a technical perspective that I like to think about. The rest of it is defining a process around how you're going to deliver the products and how you're going to maintain the products. Everything is extremely process driven, top to bottom. How do we publish the applications? How do we bring a new customer on? How do we maintain that customer? How do we provide customer support? It's all a process, a script, so that as you bring new employees on, or you have existing employees that haven't maybe touched something in a long time, they've got a script to look at to tell them how to do that. And then the next layer is the people. And that's being choosy about who you hire, hiring the right people. And not necessarily the greatest technical performers, but I can teach somebody to fix a computer, I can't teach them not to be a jerk.
Yeah.
And it's really all about hiring the right person to develop an office culture, so that we all get along, there's no office drama, we're all driving towards the same goal, and that goal is the top tier of this structure that I've built, and that's the customer experience.
Yeah.
And so all of that behind the scenes lead towards what I think at Matrix we've kind of defined as our top tier role, and that's the customer experience.
Right. Got it. Okay. Love it. Very cool. We just captured all that, by the way.
Good.
So that was good stuff. The so something else. Let's go back to kind of the fundamental piece that you guys could provide at Matrix, a fantastic cloud solution. But if it's riding on a LAN infrastructure that is subpar, poorly designed, performing poorly, that can blow up the overall cloud experience. How do you, what are the lessons you've learned around that? How do you help a customer figure out if their LAN infrastructure is ready, if there needs to be upgrades done there? How do you address those concerns?
Well, that's I think a key question, or a great question about a key component of what happens with connectivity to the cloud. And that's probably the most common problem that we have is, some sort of latency, some sort of connection problem. And, at the end of the day, we may not own the LAN infrastructure, we may not be supporting the LAN infrastructure, but we're going to get blamed for it anyway.
Right.
So we take ownership and responsibility. It could be, anybody supporting the LAN structure, but we're going to take the first call.
Yep.
We're going to help the end customer troubleshoot, narrow down where the problem is. We'll even put monitors in place to help them kind of gather information about, deep packet transfer between devices on the local LAN, and then, point at an individual piece and say, hey, here's what we think the problem is. Now you can go out and get your provider to do it. We can do it for you, whatever the case
So you're saying that even if you didn't sell them the router, the firewall, the Ethernet switches on the network, you'll manage those devices so that you can be the first call?
Well, we can manage them. That's part of the product set that we offer is management of those devices, or we can rent them with management tied to it. But even if we don't have anything to do with the local equipment, we'll still take responsibility for making sure that our product is the good customer service, the customer experience.
Right.
So, I mean, part of that is making sure that the LAN connectivity is good enough to handle that experience. And we delve into it with the customers to find out, hey, here's what it is. And, we don't manage that piece, but here's your problem.
Yeah.
And, let us know what we need to do to help you.
Yeah, got it. So you're not afraid to take the first phone call from a customer who's saying, I'm having this problem. Even if that problem happens to be a piece of gear that you didn't install, you didn't design, you didn't sell them, you'll direct them to the right place after that. But you want to help them get to the answer faster.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, and at the end of the day, it all affects our product.
Right.
So, I mean, we want our product to shine. So, we're willing to take the first call on all that stuff.
So it's the LAN infrastructure, making sure that's in good shape. It's the in the core of your network, it's the processes that you've built around it, so that you know exactly how you turn up a customer that looks, walks, talks a certain way, and do it the same way every time. And it's the people. I heard that loud and clear. And we've had great experience with your people. They've been fantastic in supporting us. Yeah. So there's a couple guys, but I won't mention names. I'm teasing.
That Rich Erickson guy.
Yeah. No, we love the people. So you guys really do live that brand, and we appreciate that. Let's talk about the other people involved in this, which would be the end users. Okay. At a business of 40 people, 100 people, 500 people, this migration that they make to the cloud, what expectations would you set for a group of users that are making this move to the cloud, that perhaps are now using virtual desktop or desktop as a service, their applications are in the cloud? What expectations would you set around what their user experience is going to be like? How different? What are the things that they're going to need to maybe get used to, or to retrain themselves on? What's the behavior difference like?
Well, I mean, every customer is different. As much as we like to think of, hey, I'm just using Word documents or email. I mean, you guys are a great example of this. It's just Office and email and Word documents and Excel spreadsheets, but every single customer does it differently. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, really during the process of planning this out and project managing and engineering the back end of it, we really take a lot of time to find out how they use their software and try to make it as close to what they are currently using as possible. Because the last thing that the user wants to do is change the way they do something. There are some cases where we can't always match that, and there are things that we need to change the process a little bit, but we always strive to make it as close to what they do now as possible.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases we say, hey, it's an upgrade in Office 2007 to 2010 or 10 to 13, whatever the case may be, but that's really about using the software. Their processes we try to keep as close to what they're using now as possible. Okay. But I guess the one thing that I would say getting used to is the way you manage files. Mm-hmm. People have a tendency to put files just kind of all over the place. Yeah. Some of it's on the local machine, some of it's on a corp share of some sort, or a shared file system, and that's not really a best practice for storing your documents. So one of the things that I think probably that they really need to get used to is storing their documents in the cloud-based storage that we provide.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's a change for a lot of folks.
Yeah, and really live out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to live there, because that's where all your protection is. That's where all of your your synergy with the other programs are really in that cloud-based program, mm-hmm. and that's where all the backups are done from. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you live there, you're protected. It might take a little bit of a behavioral change to get used to living there. Right. But ultimately, it's going to be a much better place for you to be.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, guys, I really enjoyed my time. Rich, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Always enjoy visiting with you. Learn stuff from you all the time, and it's great to have you be in the community. Congratulations again, man.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
All right, Rich. Thanks.
It's good being here.
Guys, thanks for tuning in.